What's going on, YouTube? Kamikaze Von Doom here with some breaking news regarding the Division 2, but then also some additional details regarding the Division 3. So, this is going to be a good news, bad news type of video, but regardless, sit back, relax, grab that popcorn, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. I had to update the background to the Division 3. I had to. There's images like this floating around everywhere now. I love it. I love it. Anyways, all of this news and more is firstly on my Twitter page at Kamikaze Von Doom. I share all of this information, whether it be news articles, what the developers say, what other content creators say. Everything regarding the Division universe is on this page. So again, check it out at Kamikaze Von Doom before I make a YouTube video. But I shared this earlier this morning because this was some not so great news going with the incredible news of the Division 3. So, the Division 2 has decided to depart ways with Morten Ryberg. So, remember, Morten Ryberg was essentially the face of the dev team whenever Year 4 started for the Division 2. Prior to that, we had the Division Year 1, we had Warlords of New York, and then we had COVID. And when the pandemic happened, we had a year of nothing, basically. We had the seasons, but then we had a year of reruns of those seasons. And then we had the sad news that they were deciding to take the Division 2 offline. But then Year 4 came around, and Ubisoft decided to not only give the Division 2 a Year 4 and a Year 5, but then they also released information about the Division Heartland and the Division Resurgence. So it was kind of this weird, like, did the pandemic kill this franchise type of deal? And as that happened, we saw a influx of new development team members coming to the Division 2 from all other walks of life. One of those people was Morten Ryberg. Now, Morten Ryberg was hired on as the product director. He said in several interviews that his take on being a product director was unorthodox and that he just wanted to establish the brand as a long term, whatever, what have you. Now, with that being said, we all know my critiques of Morten Ryberg. There have been less rewards for us consumers, and there have been a huge increase on things we had to buy with real money. Whether it be buying the season pass with less rewards or putting all of the apparel events behind a paywall. It was quite interesting the way he was taking the Division brand. But nevertheless, we did have a Year 4 that gave us Countdown and ended up giving us the Descent game mode. And Countdown overall is a huge success for the community as a whole. It is a great place to farm, and it is a new way of playing the Division 2. Now, with that being said, Descent did not have such a warm embrace, and that's about all I've got to say about that. The product as a whole has been continuously progressing, and the division has been in, it's been going. I mean, I'm trying not to be negative here, but just remember that every single patch and every single update came with bugs and glitches, and every single apparel event was either bugged or delayed. It is with a heavy heart to say, farewell, sorry. But this is on the heels of getting the news that Julian Garrity is taking over as the executive producer for the brand. It's not just a Division 3 type of deal. Julian Garrity is taking over for the entire Division brand. And prior to that, Morten Ryberg being the product director was, in a sense, controlling all of these IPs while trying to maintain his stature at the Division Two. Because at the Division game, their official Twitter page, it is for all games division. It's not just for the Division 2. And this is the page that Morten Ryberg would basically communicate with people and let everyone know what's going on. Now, this says it is for the Division 2, the Division Heartland, and the Division Resurgence. So whenever Morten Ryberg came on as product director, he kind of he kind of had those pushed on top of that in a community development sense, because they all fall under the division's umbrella, which is at Massive Entertainment. Now, we know that the Division Heartland is being developed by Red Storm, and we do know that the Division Resurgence is a mobile game being developed by Ubisoft Mobile. However, they all fall under this umbrella as a brand and as the overall product. So, with the news that we got today that Julian Garrity was appointed the executive producer for the Division brand, it is safe to say that they are going to hire individual product directors for the individual titles. And essentially, Julian Garrity has been taking over that brand push concept that Morten Ryberg was talking about in previous interviews. Now, with that being said, let's see what he had to say today. So he said that, and this is crazy because he said this just minutes after they announced Julian Garrity took over for the Division brand. And he says that September 30th marks the end of 17 years at Ubisoft. And grateful for the amazing gaming community and talented teams I've had the privilege to work with. Exciting times ahead as I embark on a new journey in a different industry. So he's not even going to be in gaming anymore at all. The Division 2 is in good hands, and I look forward to see what's next. So, remember that in the special reports we were getting from the Division 2, Morten Ryberg was the face of those. If you go to any of the previous Twitch streams that they did for special reports, you would see it would be Morten Ryberg right there, dead center, pushing the game's product and brand. So, with that being said, and with Morten Ryberg departing and, going separate ways from the Division 2, it is safe to say that now we have to wonder what is going to happen with these special reports. Are we going to get a state of the game, comeback? What is going to happen on the community aspect? Because remember, Karina was the community manager for the Division 2, and she departed from the Division 2 last month. So we don't have a public community manager. We have Daria right here, but Daria's, it still says she's a community developer at Ubisoft Massive. So she's not the community manager. Now, it's safe to say that during these special reports, Morten Ryberg was acting as all of those things at once. So now we have to wonder what's going to happen with those special reports and what's going to happen with the division's community engagement as a whole, because it's been fairly quiet from the the consumer standpoint from the devs. I mean, we have to be following them on their personal accounts just to try to get a glimpse of any sort of news about the division, and it shouldn't be that way. We need better community engagement from this brand as a whole. So I really hope that Julian Garrity, brings that over and maybe adds to the teams and builds a better community relationship. That way, we're all happy and pumped up like we are today from the news about the Division 3. Like, we should be that pumped up all the time for this brand, but we're not. And we're even about to get this new incursion, and it seems that overall morale is at an all-time low. So I'm really excited about this news and this hype, and I really hope that this increases, the player engagement and community part, for both the devs and us consumers. I mean, it would really help us out. Now, I did say also in the title that I have additional details regarding this morning's news about Julian Garrity, and here we go. We have a few articles. So this one is from Ubisoft. They actually fixed that link from earlier, so we are able to see that. This is an article from PC Gamer about The Division 3. And here is an article from IGN regarding The Division 3. So let's go ahead and see what Ubisoft had to say officially first. And it is, let's see. I don't think it's that long. No, it's really not that long. Okay. So here we go. It says Julian Garrity appointed executive producer for the Division brand. All right. Now, as far as we know, Yannick is still the creative director for the Division 2, and I would probably throw his name in the ring for creative director or some sort of similar role for the Division 3. If Julian Garrity is in charge of the brand and the actual product itself, then it's safe to, go back to Yannick for that creative direction, which is an amazing thought there. Now it says, Julian Garrity is returning to the brand he helped usher into the world. Garrity has been appointed executive producer for the Division brand and will make the move once Star Wars Outlaws, a game he is currently overseeing as creative director, has shipped. It goes on, Garrity is excited to return to the Division. Before he joined Tom Clancy's The Division team as a associate creative director in 2014, he remembers seeing the promise in the first reveal at E3 2013 and said, I remember that gameplay promise, the co-op, the PvP, the open world RPG aspects. Its world seemed very relatable and very realistic, like you could really be an agent for, a change within it. Now, the whole aspect he's talking about here is during that E3 conference in 2013, when they first revealed Tom Clancy's The Division, they showed this gameplay trailer that was still very, very well put together. You could see that in a game now and think it's amazing. It would, be right there lined with Starfield, in my opinion, where Starfield was releasing all of these gameplay and realistic trailers and it really hyped you up. That's the exact same feeling that Tom Clancy's The Division did back in 2013. And in that, they promised a lot of things that we never got. So it's really cool to think that they could be putting all of those concepts back from that E3 presentation and then put it with all of these new like these new, what is it, next gen, and the new graphics that are out now. I mean, comparing 2013 to 2023, 2024, I mean, it's not even relatable, really, technology wise. So they could probably, interpret a lot of those things that were said and introduced in that E3 presentation and actually put it into the Division 3, which would be mind blowing. I've already seen comments and people talk about them using Unreal Engine, and that wouldn't really, I don't think that would really work with the Division brand, because remember, the Snowdrop engine was introduced with Tom Clancy's The Division, and then it was, adopted to other Ubisoft titles, and then they did Snowdrop again for The Division 2. So I don't, maybe, because remember, there are other games out there that would use different software for different aspects of their game. So maybe they would use Unreal for like the graphics part and then use Snowdrop for like their mechanics and all the other things. Who knows? That's all speculation. As this article goes on, it says after joining the team at Massive Entertainment, a Ubisoft studio, and shipping the original 2016 title, he moved to Tom Clancy's The Division 2 as creative director, where he and his team crafted a new adventure in the summertime streets of Washington, D.C. Now he's setting his sights on Tom Clancy's The Division 3, as well as a plethora of other projects. Now, obviously, the other projects, they're talking about the mobile game and Heartland. So, mobile and Heartland were both set to be released this year. Now, it getting pushed back and all of this new, I mean, it's just looking as if they gave Julian Garrity the keys to the car and he immediately changed everything. Because remember, we were supposed to be in the regional beta for Division Resurgence, testing it for America right now. And they were supposed to release that game in October. So much so that Apple did a presentation showing the Division Resurgence. So it was pretty crazy to see that there was all this push to get this, the Division Resurgence hype going. And then it kind of just died there for like a month. It was silent. And then they delayed everything. And then same with the Division Heartland. We had a huge beta for the Division Heartland in June, and then everything went silent for like a good month or so. And then all of a sudden, things were silent for 3 months, 4 months. And just what, a week or so ago, the Division Heartland said that they were delaying everything until next year. So obviously, there is a plan to roll out this huge push for the Division brand as a whole. And I think that they finally nailed it with Julian Garrity at the helm. I think that they really didn't know what to do with the Division brand once Julian Garrity departed for Star Wars. And when he departed for Star Wars, he brought over a lot of those Massive Entertainment developers. So now that they are finishing up on Star Wars, him as a creative director, he will be done with that product. So then he can go back to the brand that he loves. If you have ever seen Julian Garrity in E3 conferences or old State of the Game episodes for the Division, you would know that he would eat, sleep, dream and breathe the Division. It was just right there with him. And I think this is perfect. But this also means that this new timeline we're going to get is going to be his timeline. So whatever Resurgence and Heartland got pushed to, that's going to be the new release because he's going to be controlling this. We have already played Resurgence and Heartland, and everything coming from both of those games have been nothing but stellar reviews and people saying they're wondering why it's not released. That's it. There have been nothing negative at all. And in fact, Resurgence was so polished. When I played the first regional beta, I was wondering why this wasn't released. It was flawless the whole time. And then they said they're going to make the graphics even better once it's released. So, I mean, the Division Resurgence, you're going to be able to play in 4K 60 frames on mobile. It's ridiculous. And then as far as the Division Heartland, that that's a mystery wrapped in an enigma because that thing's been in testing for years, and there again, nothing negative has ever been said about it. So we know that with Julian Garrity taking over the brand, this new timeline to push the DLC Resurgence and Heartland together, and then have this huge hype push into the development into the Division 3. This is going to be some really, really good news for us, the Division community, for years ahead. I mean, you're talking years because Heartland is continuously being developed on, and that's a free to play. So you're thinking what, like battle passes or season passes, something like that, similar to like a Warzone or like Fortnite, PUBG type of deal. So I mean, that one's going to have legs on it to last a couple years itself. And then the Division Resurgence is a full on AAA game, and they've already said that they're preparing to do additional content for that. I mean, it's some big stuff right here. Not to mention everyone and their mom is like, "Oh, Division 3 is going to take a decade to develop." That's not necessarily true because remember it was only 3 years from Division 1 to Division 2. That was it. I mean, if you were to say, "Okay, today, boom, 3 years." I mean, September, what would that be? Hmm, maybe. I wouldn't say September though, because they've already stated that Division Day is 420. It's April 20th. So it used to be Division month was March. Everything Division was March. So maybe they'll do a March, push, but who knows? Because remember, with Morton Ryberg out of the picture, a lot of the things that Morton Ryberg was pushing was Seasons 2.0. He was pushing a lot of things like that. So we're going to have to see where that's going to take us for the Division 2 and that future because we were promised another year of Division 2. Now, my honest opinion, they're probably going to pull a Division 1.8 scenario where they're going to add things into the game to get us ready for the third game. And then while they do that, they're going to push the other two titles, something like that. And then we'll probably get the Division 3, maybe March or April of 2026? Yeesh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeesh. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. I heard a lot of people saying we'd get it in like 2040. It was crazy. All right. Here's the last part of this article. Now it says a core focus of Garrity's is to build a team for the Division 3, which will be led by Massive Entertainment. So again, Massive Entertainment is going to be the flagship for Tom Clancy's The Division, while making sure Tom Clancy's The Division 2 remains well supported. So Julian Garrity is overseeing The Division 2 as well. Outside of that, his attention will be on solidifying the brand's identity. Interesting. And then this is a quote from Garrity. It says, "We may have over 40 million players, but the Division is still in its early years as a franchise. There are so many incredible stories to tell, places to explore, and people to protect." A key through line Garrity stresses is that every single expression of the Division needs to be of the highest quality. And that is what I love about this guy. This dude rocks. Because remember, Warlords of New York rocked. It was awesome. Survival rocked. Last Stand rocked. Like all the things that this guy has, help get together. I mean, the only other question I want is where's Terry Spire? I want Terry Spire in this, man. I really hope that Julian Garrity brings on Terry Spire. Like, please bring back the GOAT. I mean, that would just make things, full circle. Because them leaving the Division 2 and then the pandemic hitting and then all the things that happened with the Division 2 since, it would be really nice to see these old names that are sketched into the stone of the foundation that is the Division come back and bring this product to its former glory. Now it says Julian remains fully committed to making Star Wars Outlaws a success both for the development team and fans. He will remain on the project through launch to ensure the game meets the intended creative vision and provide a great experience for players. When asked if there's anything else Garrity wants to let the players of the division know about its future, he brought up the talent of the Ubisoft development teams. And he says there are a huge number of talented developers currently working on the Division brand. And I think that having more consistency can only make everybody's work sing. Well, that's good. Well done. Well done. Now, this really rings true, especially with the Division 2, because remember when Julian Garrity and his team left the Division 2 for Star Wars, they left the Division 2 in the hands of a lot of newer developers that were not familiar with this game. And that having more consistency of them working on the brand for years to come really means that they can hone in on their skills and bring a complete product with higher quality. Awesome. 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 Now, that was the Ubisoft article about Julian Garrity. Now, we had the PC Gamer article, and it's basically saying the exact same thing, just written by a different person. I mean, all of these quotes are the exact same. Everything is exactly the same. The only difference is you have a lot of these ads that are popping up. And then as far as the IGN article, I'm sure we're going to have more ads pop up. Yep, there we go. I mean, it's the exact same article. Okay. Except for this one has a poll. Are you interested in playing the Division 3? And then they have a picture of Division Heartland. That's interesting. Just a few things here to note. The Division Heartland is still due to come out next year, and same with Division Resurgence. Those games are not going anywhere at all. We are still getting an incursion for the Division 2, and we are still getting, year 5 content. Just because that Julian Garrity took over and Morten Ryberg has departed the Division 2 does not mean that we're not getting content for the Division 2. It just means that the overall trajectory of the product is going to go in a different direction. And for me personally, I think that is the best news possible regarding our community. Our community was very happy in the hands of Julian Garrity, and with him coming back, we can only assume that we're going to be happy again. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope that this has covered everything regarding the Division 3 news and the Division 2 and, well, the Division universe as a whole. I am Kamikaze Von Doom. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Peace out.